Welcome, everyone. I hope you're all having a pleasant Sunday afternoon. Thanks for being here with us on the African Diaspora Doc YouTube channel. And today we're going to discuss the situation in Tanzania that we witnessed just last week. And please take a look. Be right back. My name is Dr. Sheri Tomlin. I'm your host today, and there's a lot of questions being asked. And before we continue tonight's conversation, before we talk about the youth, the elections, and the future of East Africa, you probably need to hear this. There's a story that's unfolding on the continent. There's a story that many of us are afraid to tell. In Tanzania, after a single election, there were bodies left in the streets. Journalists were silenced. Families were left searching for loved ones who never came back home. The nation that we once called a haven of peace woke up to the sound of gunfire. Witnesses say hundreds may have died, and the government denies it. The truth hides in the shadows. The foreign press has been pushed out. Local reporters are threatened. Young people are told to keep quiet. But this generation, Gen Z Africa, they are different. They are connected, they are awake, and they're watching. Across East Africa and across the world, these authoritarian regimes are tightening their grip because they fear the youth. They fear their voice. They fear your courage. They fear your truth. And today we speak that truth out loud. Today we honor those who cannot speak. We stand with those who disappeared in silence. And we stand with those who dare to film and post their pictures and their videos. We warn the world about these dangers. You warn the world about these dangers. So we stand with the youth of Tanzania. We stand with the youth of Africa, calling for justice, dignity, and freedom. This is not just political. This is personal. This is human. This is a battle for the soul of a nation and for the future of the African continent. Welcome, everyone, to African Authoritarianism is Rising, our coverage here on the AfricanDiasporaDoc.com YouTube channel, because Tanzania is at the crossroads. And we're happy to see their eyes are open, their voice does matter, and we want them to know they're not alone. So let's begin tonight's conversation by going over some of the what happened on October 29th. Okay, let's have a investigative overview of what took place in Tanzania and what it means for the border African regions. So this is not just a story about one country, it's part of a pattern that's emerging across the African continent. Rising authoritarianism, shrinking civic space, and a generation of young Africans who refuses to be silent. So, were there really 2,000 Tanzanians killed in the aftermath of the election that was held on the 29th of October? This is the allegation coming from the opposition party there, Chadema. And it's an allegation that government, which we don't trust anyway, won't accept. They keep denying it. And the truth remains buried now beneath the fear of the people, the silence, and the absence of a free press. So foreign journalists have been shut out. Local reporters there cannot speak freely, And to understand this and to know what really happened, investigators and the activists have turned to the only sources, and that is to speak to survivors, eyewitnesses, and trace the digital footprints on social media. So across the country, there are more clues that are surfacing. There's videos of armed men who are beating protesters. Photographers caught got pictures of bodies lying in the streets. So what is the true death toll? It could be hundreds, possibly more. So it's 2 weeks now after the vote, and life in Dar es Salaam has returned to a fragile calm. But the air, I'm sure, is very heavy with silence. About 400 citizens have now been arrested on election-related charges. Lawyers say detainees are being tortured. Some appear in court with visible injuries. Tanzania has a city, the haven of peace, and they are trying to now reset this because fear is hanging over their population. They're afraid to speak. The United Nations reports signs of possible cover up, which includes claims that the bodies were removed from the mortuaries and taken to undisclosed locations. Families report missing relative. Hospitals quietly admit that some patients who were once accounted for have now vanished. I mean, yeah, who can live through this nightmare, right? How can the international community push for accountability? Tanzania's leaders appear focused on protecting the image of legitimacy, and it's not being done right, as we can see. Even as the elections leave the region destabilized, they're pushing for legitimacy. So authoritarianism is rising across that region, and leaders there are responding with force because they fear the new generation, Gen Z, who are raised in the digital age. They are informed, they're united across borders, and they're unafraid. Unlike the older generation, they refuse to be silenced. Beneath the fear, something else is stirring. There's an awakening. For years, Tanzanians rarely questioned public spending, government accountability, or power. Now its citizens are asking questions, and the country is no longer asleep. The unrest in Tanzania mirrors a larger pattern across Africa. Kenya and Uganda have also seen violent crackdowns. Kenya's president defends, uh, you know, hurting people in the leg during protests by the youth. Uganda's presidents casually admitted detaining Kenyan activists. Across the region, authoritarian governments are coordinating their methods. They're coming together to insist on doing the wrong thing. So across the region, the youth are pushing back. In Kenya, there's strong institutions, especially the judiciary, that provides some defense, but in Tanzania and Uganda, there's almost no mechanism to resolve election disputes or protect citizens' rights. So advocates are saying only stronger institutions and independent institutions can safeguard the future. So East Africa stands at a crossroad. There's a struggle between rising authoritarianism and a generation that refuses to be silent. In Tanzania, the echoes of a contested election still lingers in the streets and the hospitals, in quiet rooms where survivors are lying, remembering the day everything changed. So, yeah, thank you for joining me today on the African Diaspora Channel, everyone, where we try to feel the heartbeat of our people, our African nations, and tell our stories across the African world. Today, we're not talking about something that hit the continent just last week. The elections in Tanzania, the emotional, social, and political weight that young people have been carrying on their shoulders during and after the vote is still very fresh. So let's set the stage. Tanzania went through their election cycle last week, and like so many elections across Africa, it wasn't just about politics. It was about identity, future, trust, and survival. The youth there showed up strong. They were watching the process, watching the candidates, watching the promises, but also watching the tension that was rising. And for many of them, this election was not just a civic event, it was a stress test. It stressed their patience, it stressed their faith, and it was testing their hope. So I've spoken with young people across Africa, and it's the same across the board. There's fear of instability, there's frustration with unemployment, there's concerns about media, either suppression or misinformation. A lot of them have anxiety about the rising cost of living and feeling unheard. So these are not just political issues, these are also mental health issues. When young people feel voiceless, powerless, or uncertain about tomorrow, it starts affecting their sleep, concentration, motivation, relationships, everything. Some of them have shared that they barely sleep during these election weeks. Others said they're scared to speak online. Many are now exhausted, mentally drained, and of course, we can expect they should be overwhelmed. So, this is real psychological pressure. As a nurse doctor who has traveled across Africa, I want to share my expertise and be there to offer resources and support for the youth. Because when a nation goes through political tension, the youth are the ones that absorb the shock first. They're the ones that are dreaming, planning, building, and hoping. So they really expect change. They really expect something different to happen. But the older generation, they've seen this come and go year after year, and there has been no change. So they just gave up a long time ago and they just go with the flow. But the young generation, they're really, really believing their vote will count. They're really believing that this is their time, right? And it is. But there's always these disappointments with the results that don't reflect their expectations, and they have to worry about safety or political retaliation. They are emotionally fatigued now. There's just this constant stress and a disconnect be- between their leaders and the people. The leaders, they don't care and they're just not listening. And it's just not happening in Tanzania. We've seen a similar pattern across Nigeria. Uh, a little bit happened in Senegal. I was there for that when Macky Sall was trying not to leave. But the good thing about Senegal, the people there are very diplomatic and sophisticated. So they try not to, uh, you know, do anything illegal or against each other anyway. To the government, yes, but with each other, they don't attack each other like that, or it's like a gentleman's club there. So I was a little scared when they had a little unrest uh, back in 2024, but I can't even imagine if it was like really ramped up like it was in Kenya recently and in Tanzania recently, or even in Uganda. Yeah, what that would feel like. And you're not even from that country, you're just visiting or traveling, and you end up there. I can't even believe what some of our brothers and sisters from the African diaspora who are traveling across Africa experienced these past couple of weeks. So our hearts go out to the families that's lost loved ones, for anyone who was going to Tanzania for a wonderful vacation experience or just to visit. And then this happened. Uh, yeah, I just feel bad that this happened right now and it happened the way it did. But as you can see, the whole of Africa is in a moment of awakening. So let's be clear, the youth in Africa are not asking for too much. All they want is fair elections, honest leaders, economic stability, economic opportunity and safety, right? They want a chance to breathe and build. They want to have their voices heard. They want to have their lives matter. They want their future to be bigger than political gains. And honestly, they deserve that. So to my young people in Africa who are listening, to the youth in Tanzania and across the African continent, here are the few things that I want you to keep in mind for right now, okay? Try not to overthink. This is like the new word. We brought this up in the webinar with Grace OB from the Monkey Business movie last week, and she was telling everyone, whatever you do, try not to overthink, okay? So try to distract yourself. Give your brain a break. Talk to someone that you trust. Don't hold everything in. I know men have a good habit of doing that instead of telling people, especially their partner, how they really feel, they keep it in. And then they end up in relationships they shouldn't be in, or, you know, uh, expressing themselves the wrong way at the wrong time. So we need to find balance. And that begins with, reducing your stress and anxiety. And that starts with not overthinking. Okay. Do your breathing exercises like Grace was saying last week, right? Try to find a distraction, go outside, do social activities, stay connected because isolation increases anxiety. Focus on what you can control. Focus on your goals, your growth, your faith. Stay alert, but do not be consumed, okay, by the tragedy, uh, by the bad situation that your governments are, responsible for. And I know if you have to live through this, it's a lot different, okay, than anyone on the outside looking in, you know, to come and give advice. But like I said, I've been in Africa when there was unrest. Thank goodness the people in Senegal, they try to find they have a lot of respect for each other and they try to find, you know, uh, like calm ways to resolve their issues and they try to work things out. So um, that was the difference there. But awareness should not become trauma, all right? You cannot pour from an empty cup, so protect your energy. What's happening in Tanzania is not isolated. It's part of a larger continental conversation about accountability, justice, and the power of the youth. And guess what? The youth are the largest demographic in Africa. You are the force. You are the momentum. You are the future. And yeah, Tanzania, we see you. We hear you. We're praying for clarity, fairness, and peace. And if you're a young person navigating political stress there, remember you're not alone. Your voice does matter. Your well being does matter. So stay grounded, stay informed, stay hopeful. And as always, keep following us here on the African Diaspora channel for more conversations and be part of our community because we do have a lot of activities and events coming up that we would like our African youth to engage in. We want to tell everyone about nexna.com. This is our site that you can visit. Okay, nexna.com. All right. I don't know if you got to see that. All right, let me pull that up again for you. And we now have Next Global Institute, our nonprofit organization that is now active. So, like I said before, we're able to now provide more resources starting in 2026, of course, to our youth. You can get a copy of the Nexna newsletter. If you reach us, send us an email to Nexna, info@nexna.com. Okay, so we want to see how we can uh, help you to have, uh, you know, work. If you graduated and can't find work, we want to help you to maybe become an intern and get experience. Okay, so Nexna does offer that. We also offer support for small businesses. So if you're an entrepreneur, please reach out to us. We would love to hear more about your small business. Sometimes it doesn't take a lot to get our people uh, off to a good start, and it's just the connections in a lot of cases that you might have. This is our, I want to introduce our CEO, Mr. Modu Lamin Pui from the Gambia. Yes, he's our CEO at Nexna. He's only about 25 years old, and he's a brilliant young man, and we invite you to connect with us at Nexna. So let's see, we do have a webinar coming up that we want to let everyone know about. It's for the Monkey Business movie that was released in Nigeria last year. And we have, yeah, let me put that out there. Yes, we have Director Jay Leo, who will be joining us. He's a Nollywood filmmaker and five-time mixed martial arts champion, and he will be joining us next weekend at 3 p.m. Nigeria time. So that would be 9 a.m. Eastern and 8 a.m. Central. Grace O'B, she was actress in the movie, a Nollywood actress, and she did a great job. And she will be also joining us for part two because we've discovered that a lot of the young uh, people between the ages of 20 and 30, and if they're women, they really connected with that role. So she's now a role model. They connected with that part that she played in the movie. So we're so excited about that, and we're going to share how the movie came to life and all of the things that went into making the movie. And we have more projects coming up, like the Monkey Business prequel, which is called Yambezi, that was filmed in Zambia this year. They just finished filming in September. So we have a lot of projects to work on for 2026. Let's see, we also have, of course, the sequel for Monkey Business that we also want to film in 2026, which is going to be even bigger and better than the Monkey Business movie, which was supposed to be comedy. So I'm thinking the Yambezi movie is more thriller. It looks more like horror to me, but yeah, so we want you to know what we're doing at Nexna. So our youth are part of, they're all part of, you know, um, what we're doing on social media, the movies. Uh, yeah, they're part of also sales and marketing, of course. Before we begin tonight's conversation, before we talk about the youth in Africa, elections, and the future of East Africa, you need to hear this because a story is unfolding on the African continent. It's a story that many are afraid to tell. In Tanzania, after a single election, bodies were left in the streets. Journalists were silenced. Families were left searching for their loved ones who never came home. The nation that we once called a haven of peace woke up to the sound of gunfire. Witnesses say hundreds may have died. The government denies it. The truth hides in the shadows. Foreign press, they're pushed out. Local reporters are threatened. Young people are told to keep quiet. But this generation, Gen Z Africa, is different. They are connected, they are awake, and they're watching. Across East Africa and across the world, authoritarian regimes are tightening their grip because they fear the youth. They fear their voice. They fear your courage. They fear your truth. So tonight, we speak that truth out loud. Tonight, we honor those who cannot speak. We stand with those who disappeared in silence. We stand with those who dared to film these events and warn the world about the dangers. We stand with the youth of Tanzania, the youth of Africa who are calling out for justice, dignity, and freedom. This is not just political. This is personal. This is human. This is a battle for the soul of a nation and for the future of our African continent. Welcome to African Authoritarianism is Rising, Tanzania at the Crossroads. Okay, family. So if you're still with me, please like, share, and subscribe. I had to get that in there because I need it for the replay when we do our promotion. So before we close today, I want to speak directly to the young people across Africa and across the African diaspora. And just to remind you that Nexna.com and Nexna Global Institute, at these organizations, we are building something bigger than just a platform. We're not just building another platform. We are building a movement, everyone, a movement for youth leadership, a movement for digital empowerment, a movement for your creativity to give you opportunity and to help you to transform. So at Nexna Global Institute, you can look at our website. I'm just getting that together. I'm going to get Mr. Modulaman Pui to help me this week, but when it's ready, it's going to be nexnaglobal.org. And we want to invite the youth in Africa from Tanzania to Kenya, from Nigeria to Zambia, from Ghana to the Gambia, and beyond to join us. So we're opening doors for your digital skills. You can learn digital skills or improve your digital skills on our e-learning platform, nextnala.com. You can, get your skills sharpened if you're into creative arts. You can join us with social impact projects, youth-led media, innovation and entrepreneurship, mental wellness programs. If you need that, I can assist you. I am there to support you. So if you just want to talk, I will listen. So please, yeah, please, let's connect, okay? We have leadership development. So we just want you to know we believe in you. We believe in your ideas, your voice, your courage, and your future. So if you're watching this and you feel called to do more, if you want to be part of a new generation that does stand for justice, truth, and unity, if you want to use your skills to build Africa's tomorrow, come on and join the movement at Nexna, okay? And yeah, and also at African Diaspora Doc. Yes. So we want you to work with us. We want you to grow with us. And we want you to lead with us. We want to see your skills, your leadership skills. So please visit nexna.com and connect, volunteer, learn, and rise with a community that believes in the power of the African youth. The future is in your hands. And at Nexna, we're building it with you. All right. So I enjoyed my time here today. I think I've said it all. Please, leave your comments below. We want to hear from you. We want to know that, you care. So even if that's all you can say, okay? You are following the events, you care, and you give the youth your support. Yeah, that goes a long way. So, this is why I do what I do, okay? So, as always, stay grounded, stay informed, stay hopeful, and keep following the African Diaspora Doc channel for more conversations, more clarity, and more support from your community. Peace and blessings, family. Until next time, be sure to take care of your mind, your heart, and your spirit.